The first device we're going to be using is thermal imaging. So you should be able to see me in there. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy. So, sorry fellas, London, I am the hottest guy in there, am I not? London has been stealing my jokes from time to time because my dad jokes make you guys all laugh, and she thinks it's not funny.
He forces me to tell that one.
Yeah, because of that exact reason. So, we're literally looking for what? What do you think? What are we looking for in here?
Heat.
Not heat, but...
Energy. Opposite of hot.
Cold spots. So it's the old adage that goes create cold spots. Make your hair stand up on the back of your neck, that kind of mentality. We're literally looking for cold spots with this. Blue and black to either start moving on their own or to start taking shape on their own. So again, that's the whole point of this camera. It is recording right now, so everybody kind of knows how to watch the video. The reason why I started here, there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen, giving us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So it's going to help when you're watching your video of where that coldest spot might actually be, and that way we can compare the temperatures. So, Peyton, just so I don't get your name wrong again, I'm going to give this one to you. You're going to make sure it stays, the camera stays on your left-hand side. You're going to hold it right-handed. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Okay. Look at you. You're a natural. So we are going to do a few starts and stops with that, because as great as that hardware is, the software sucks. If we record for too long, we're going to lose footage. We don't want to do that. When I tell you to stop the video, it's that orange square that you see on the left. Perfect. Look at you. Already on it.
Your mom and dad would have loved this.
Oh, right.
Alright, the next crazy camera. This particular guy obviously looks way different than the one I just handed out, so let me do a quick explanation on this one. This one actually requires two people because it will have an accompanying item to go along with it.
Ooh, watch yourself.
I'm more worried about the gear than I
am
me.
Right?
Alright, so quick demo with this. You should not be able to see me in this little tiny GoPro. If you can, it's going to be pretty dark. So let's turn on some lights, because looking at a dark screen is not very exciting. So now the whole screen should be illuminated with infrared lighting, light you cannot see with your own eyes. So the whole point of this is that we're going to be able to capture something we would not normally be able to see with our own eyes. So again, we're using the infrared light torch up here at the top. The whole screen is going to be purple all night long. Zoe, I am going to start the recording now, just so that, with that said, I want to make sure it's not going to lock up on us, and if it does, we can fix it pretty quickly early in the night. This is going to require two people, so obviously Angela is going to be helping you out. So Shannon, that one will go to you.
Dude, look at a real life version of Ghostbusters.
Alright, this is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything by the time we're done. So, nobody got the Men in Black joke? Memory jokes, guys.
I got it.
Lasers. So lasers actually help us to find motion. So the camera that I just handed over to Zoe, she's going to be filming through these lasers as Angela kind of walks around slowly with this laser. You can't see the lasers until something actually passes through it. So, now, the hope here is that we're going to be able to capture something on film to be able to get that still and show you what we caught. We're going to be using two different styles of lasers. The red squares means if we capture something here, I can put it in 3D software, give you a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements. Now, I've had this red one for about a year now. It hasn't caught anything where the software will actually take it. Hopefully tonight is our night. So, you're going to be using both of these, and hopefully side by side. When you're using them, you don't want to cross the streams. Again, that's pointless at that point. Another Ghostbuster joke. Nobody got that?
I got that.
Ah, look at that. So when you're using this, you want to make sure that the tip of the laser is actually touching your toe, so that way they stay in control. You don't want to be flashing these all over, because these things will blind people, and there's a laser law in Charleston. Nick will go to jail. We don't want that. So this one actually has a button you have to hold. See where my index finger is slamming it down? This one has a light switch on it. So once you turn it on, it stays on. Just be careful that you don't start moving around with it while the light is still on. Make sure you turn the light off and save some electricity. So there you go, my friend. Those will both go to you. We'll give you the safe spaces of when we're going to be using the lasers, just so everybody knows the lasers are always a weird thing to actually use. So, spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead if you're unfamiliar with this. If you watch the TV shows, this is the white noise they give you, and then your host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. So, the cool thing about this one is we're going to be recording the entire session. The person using it is going to have an earbud in. So we're not going to hear what they hear, but you're going to hear what they're hearing tomorrow morning. I'll be writing down whatever they catch in real time, and then I'll be spot checking this guy tomorrow morning for about 15 to 20 more markers of things that I find in there, whether they're relevant or not. It'll help the rest of you learn how to listen to this. I'm also going to tell you that this is not the same method that they use on television. What they do on TV is they get it going so fast that you only have white noise. I slowed this one down to allow the radio chatter to come through. It's a 50-50 shot that if we can make out the DJs, the song lyrics, or the commercials, we get tied to the location, a person in history, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. So with that said, Ian, you're going to get this first one. So again, you're going to have to pop in an earbud. I don't want these back, by the way. Your earwax is gross. You get to keep that. So the only thing you need to worry about is the volume button, which is a wheel right here at the top. So it's next to the power button. Try not to hit the power button because you have the one that's recording. So again, we'll answer more questions about spirit boxes as we kind of move along. I do have two of these that are identical. So Lear, you're going to get the second one. So yours is not going to record, so we're going to rely on you and what you're hearing to be able to write it down in real time. All right, perfect. So, London, can you reset that for her? Do you remember how to do it?
Do you want this to keep on running?
Yeah, I want you to keep running with that one.
Okay.
It's in the very front on this one. So, again, your right gross, your volume is right here. You get that.
Mom.
What I do.
So, am I supposed to just be recording?
The whole time. And if you hear something.
If he hears something. Wait, what does he do if he hears something?
He'll be telling me, but I'll be, as you'll see once we get to each location, like I'll be jumping around from person to person, jotting down a bunch of notes. So the next spirit box, we don't actually have to listen to this guy. So what this one's going to do is it's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. This is going to replace an obelisk of what you would normally see on TV. Why am I using this instead of the normal ghost hunting one? Is because this has 18 times the amount of terms in it than the one that is actually meant for ghost hunting actually has. So it's going to save all of the words and terms to a list. That's the nice thing about it. It has a timestamp next to every single word and phrase that's going to pop up on this guy. And that kind of helps me watch the videos, see where the other spirit box recording stuff is, and that kind of mentality. I'm going to clear out the last tour I had. They had a little over 50 terms and phrases. I normally get about 75 in a 2-hour time frame. So with this one, I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'll come to you when I want to see the list, and I'll show you how to get to it. But this one's nice and easy. Basically, you're going to use it just like they're using their ones with the earbuds, only you don't have to listen to it. So again, 80% of what comes up on that list, everybody, is going to be BS. It's not going to mean anything. It's the other 5 to 20% that's going to be relative to our location, a person in history, or something going on with one of us. Just like I discussed with the other spirit boxes. It works the exact same way, only we just don't have to listen to it. That's why I love using it. There's no guesswork. Let's see. So, you guys have seen these on TV before, right? These are pretty much a must-have in every kind of ghost hunt. I use these to debunk what's actually happening around us. So this is going to help us with the parking meters, buildings nearby, somebody's cell phone's too close, those kind of mentalities. So again, this one goes up to a 25. All you got to do with this one, Brandy, is let me know what color that you see on here. I already have the measurements actually memorized already because obviously I do this every single night. So because this is such an easy job, you're going to have another job. You're getting a digital camera, and I normally hand this to an adult because the kids don't know what the hell this thing is. So sorry, but you don't use it enough. You have 2 buttons to worry about, obviously the shoot button and then the power button when it decides it wants to shut off after you didn't shoot enough pictures. So the other thing about this is that there's no flash on this camera. I turned it off. I don't want any false positives, so when you're taking photos, be as still as possible. So part of the reason why you're getting this is because you might be able to take some photos through the lasers in the event that Zoe's head is turned the opposite way, and that way we might capture something that she missed.
I got a question.
Yes.
Do we need to communicate with the ghost?
We're going to talk with each specific location how to use that guy.
Got it.
See, this is exactly why we said it's okay. I love that you have questions. Like that's like the second question about coming out of the spirit boxes. I love it. Let's see. You're going to have a multi-function device.
Okay.
So you also have an electromagnetic field meter, but it's a little bit more accurate. It's in digital format. So your big numbers, anything above 2.5, I want to know what's going on, because that would be Brandy's second green dot. So that way we can kind of debunk things or prove like, hey, what's actually happening here?
Okay.
The bottom number is ambient temperature. In the event, who has a thermal? Peyton actually has something going on with his camera. we can debunk it or prove it with the yellow probe at the top. It's measuring the air around it as far as temperature goes. So we'll be able to find the cold spot and say, nope, that's coming from air conditioning or whatever the case might be. The last thing, oh, there's more.
Okay.
Anything gets close to that antenna, it's gonna go off.
Okay.
I'm not touching it, just so you know. I'm touching it now. So we're gonna talk more about this motion sensor as we when we start to use it, which are gonna be 2 stops from now. For now, I'm gonna turn that part off.
Okay.
Just get used to how those numbers move around on your screen.
Got it.
Eric,
Yes, sir.
you get to carry the bag. No, I'm kidding.
All right. I can do that.
Your spirit box is going to work a lot differently than everybody else's.
Okay.
So your spirit box is actually going to sweep through the FM and AM radio stations simultaneously and attempt to take out the white noise that Ian's hearing. So hopefully you're only going to hear words come out of this thing, and you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 of them total. That's been about the average for a 2-hour time frame.
Cool.
The only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it. So I already have it on mute because it can be a little disruptive when I'm trying to talk to the whole group, but blinky lights are the top. On the right-hand side is the only button of the mute button. So again, I'm going to mute it right now, so that way I'll let you know when we're going to be unmuting it, but you're going to be listening to it the exact same way, listening for any words in terms that you can actually understand, and I'll be writing them down because this one does not record.
Gotcha.
That one goes to you, sir.
Awesome.
Love that one. That's probably our most accurate spirit box.
Nice.
They're coming to you, big guy.
So I don't touch anything on the side.
Yeah,
Just
when I
unmute.
say when it's safe to
It's
unmute,
this thing right here.
you
right?
got it.
Okay.
One button. I make everything nice and simple.
All right.
All right, so let's talk about why we're here. Of course we're here because the place is haunted. Everybody's geared up though, right? All right, good. I didn't miss anybody?
Sure.
Good, because the bag is pretty light. So there's only one device left because there's 9 of you. I only go to 10 people. That's exactly why. So the place behind me, of course it's haunted. That's why we start here. Big John's. And I also put it in your text messages this morning on purpose because I want you to remember the name Big John's. We're here because this place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Obviously he owned it. He named it after himself. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a building or a location, I'm going to slow down on specific keywords on purpose for the 5 different spirit boxes we have running tonight. So obviously the keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, and anything relatable to a bar and the name John. John used to sit in the back of this bar and would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry, and they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on because they're trying to take all of his money, and he slams down his beer on the bar, and he goes over and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, beating the heck out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. Now, John's been the only one that's been shot, and he gets up, and goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you that a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that occurred here, yet nobody died in the story that I just told you. So what's haunting the place? It's the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's filled in that bullet hole, that means that Big John's blood is now sealed inside the building. There's no way they got every single drop of that blood out of there. So people that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is kind of the heated warning of why we start here. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity. I don't know how it's going to affect any of you, so if anybody starts to feel those symptoms, I need to know immediately. Like, it's a big deal. So again, that's probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night because it deals with your own health. So let's move on, because Brandy just looked at me like, what the hell did we just sign up for?
Right.
So she's like, yeah, I'm good. The kids will all get sick, it's fine. So same building. If you haven't, well, you guys obviously haven't been taking history tours around town, but every tour guide in town is going to tell you about a big earthquake we had in 1886. The reason being is because we're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes. This is South Carolina. We're not supposed to have them. So this big earthquake, this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building apparently broke off in the front of the building during the earthquake, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed him, and they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I said apparently a lot with that because I don't have any proof. Just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. Even though I just brought it up again. Good job chuckling at that. That was a joke. All right, is everybody ready to get away from this giant puddle of water and go ghost hunting? Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Oh, he's set up just for you.
I know he did because he's a jerk. All right, we're going to head up this way. Brandy's in charge. Let's do this.
Oh, I couldn't see that. Dude, we should have brought Charlie.
I know.
He can see stuff like that.
Where's the rat?
All right.
Do you
We
have
have
yellow?
colors already? Did you have colors already?
I had a yellow.
Okay, that's what we're looking for. So again, those are the kinds of things. All right, I'm just gonna help you out. All right, everybody, welcome to the Big Red Barn. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's just so that I can talk more about your devices with you. And the history here is really simple. First off, this is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. They can't hear us, which is why most of you are using earbuds with your spirit boxes, because the horses don't like the white noise. So with that said, the history here is really simple, and I made it that way on purpose. This is the same Big Red Barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. Keywords here being delivery, milk, eggs, and anything relatable to a stable. So let's talk about spirit boxes, and hopefully those will answer a lot of your questions. So, spirit boxes, this is not a Ouija board, this is not television. Everybody wants to ask the same question whenever they get a communication device to the dead. So, what do you think that question might be?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? That's a good one. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Because if somebody says no, or are you there, and somebody says no, that means somebody's there, or are you here? Obviously if there's somebody here, right? Because everybody will say, is somebody here? Right? You think of a Ouija board, you want that yes or no answer. We are not going to be asking yes or no questions all night long. Even if you guys are skeptics, which I don't think anybody here is, you're still here to have some fun and find a little bit of paranormal proof and question it just a little bit. So the whole point of this is so that you can actually hear specific details about these locations. That's why I'm giving you the keywords of, obviously, Big John's, the 47 in New York, and all of that, the delivery milk over here. So those particular questions, when I'm teaching people how to use these spirit boxes, I would normally say, ask a question you already know the answer to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. And I don't know, is it Lisa?
Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Just want to make sure I didn't screw up your name. So I say looking because Lisa has a word list. She doesn't need to listen to anything. She's looking at it. However, the rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us, and the word red might not be available to them to be able to, answer you directly. But fire truck, blood, heart, those three things are specifically red. So I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the Big Red Barn? Blood. I'm good. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there's at least two things happening to be able to verify each other. Another example. Let's say Lisa's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything over here by itself. But then Ian hears the number 40 on his spirit box. Together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
How we're going to be linking all the clues together? Again, a lot of these people have the same names of the colonial times that we're going to be talking about. We need to know who we're talking to. That's why we look for the secondary verifiers. Cameras. Let's get on to those because we have two of them in play. So, Peyton, first on yours, well, I guess all three cameras. We're going to be in spaces like this where people's cars are going to be parked or people are going to be walking through. We're not going to be YouTubers and following them around with our cameras, or are we going to be filming people's cars? So again, people get really funny about, my cameras and filming of cars. So as long as you continue moving and you're not filming somebody's car, you'll be good to go. Sometimes I do it, Andy's coming, and that way you're going to look like you're playing with a cell phone and you're just going to point yours straight at the ground. And Brandy, as far as yours, you're a tourist anyway, so by all means, take as many pictures as you want to. So, with yours, Peyton, here's two things you're going to need to focus on. I know I told you not to film people, but I do want you to try to keep one of us in view. We're going to be the warmest thing out here. So that's going to give us the array of color. Much easier to find cold spots when you have an array of color. This is actually a nice, cool night for us. I'm actually grateful for the 79-degree weather. But at the same time, try to keep one of us in view. Second thing you're going to try to do, keep the sky out of view. That blue dot I talked about earlier always goes to the sky because there's no surface. It's looking for a surface out of the sky, and there isn't one. So try to keep the sky out if you can. It's going to be impossible in some areas.
Okay.
Zoe and Angela, was it? Am I getting that name right? Perfect. So point one of your lasers on the ground for me, buddy. Perfect. Look at you, man. You're a natural. So I don't want you pointing your camera down at the ground. So we already know what the green circles look like. You really want to just take a foot or 2 steps backwards, and you want to be filming because we're really looking for something right here. You see how that's going to show up on your camera? So that way, that's exactly what we're looking for. And the reason why we're using the lasers with that is because your lights show up like a Christmas tree on that camera. Really easy to find when the motion actually goes through it. So again, if you're going to use both of them simultaneously, just make sure they're side by side and keep them nice and in control, unless I direct you otherwise to point them straight out in certain areas that we can actually do that. But again, at the next space, you'll definitely be in full effect with lasers. So again, once we actually move on to the next space. Does anybody else have any other questions with their device? Because I do need to show Gianna more about hers, but I'm not going to do that until the next area.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go get away from football players and ponies and deep dive into Charleston history then. So, good deal. Yeah, yellow is actually a good marker over here. So.
No. Because I keep it
Think, man, you gonna find me some ghosts in there?
I don't know.
I hope you will. All right, welcome to a parking lot, everybody. Congratulations, you made it. I told you I'm taking you to weird spots. So just keep in mind, I guess first and foremost, there are vehicles in here. So when we are out and about exploring this space, kind of keep in mind, stay away from the vehicles. It's not totally packed, so we're actually in good shape. But what is this space? I guess first and foremost, I need to tell the spirit boxes I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. So again, you will get the answers from your spirit boxes, and I'm going to withhold information on purpose, so that way you have a genuine experience. I'm not here to, make things up for you. So what is this place? This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with that Five Church restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So, who the heck were these people? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Y'all see why I need the secondary verifiers now? Yeah, I need to know which Chuck we're chatting with. Yeah, that's hard to say, Chuck we're chatting with. I don't think I've ever tried that one before.
Good job.
So, I did pretty good on that one. But anyway, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but that's boring stuff, and I hate politics more than everybody else here, so we're going to move on. Let's actually get into a story. Eliza, we're going to talk about her. That's the mom of one of the signers. So Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14, just so you know. The reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. I'm not going to give you what those answers are. Hopefully your spirit boxes will. But anyway, she married Charles because her father was over in England and he thought he was dying. He wants to bring all of his kids home because he wants to see them one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she got married. It's 1744. She didn't marry him for a green card because they're not even a country yet. She married him out of love. And she was right. Her dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing now. Are you guys feeling a little bit of raindrops? Feeling a little bit. Sorry. Lots of expensive equipment out. And raindrops for me are like a big deal. But if it gets a little heavy, can you check the weather for me? But anyway, so, one of the gifts that he sent her, you guys have been in Charleston for at least a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. One of the things that he sent Eliza were plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes our blue jeans blue, so that you two are wearing it right now, because that's what we still use it for. She didn't know what to do with it when she got it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going, because it's not always hot here. When she figured it out, she calls her father and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with the indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is something absolutely unheard of for this time frame. So, that's Eliza's business. Now let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why everybody's here. So, what do you think? Lear, we're going to give you some questions. So, one of the things that you're going to be asking your spirit box is what happened to the mansion. So it's obviously not here anymore. And if you get an answer, because me and London are going to be bouncing around with everybody, ask when that happened. So where's my spirit boxes over here? With yours, I want you to find out how many children she actually had. I know there's at least one, right, Charles? There's more. And what their names were. And hopefully you can get the answers out of your spirit box. So I normally don't go with this set of questions out of that one, but I'm pushing it tonight. I want to see how far it's actually going to go. Let's see, as far as your spirit box goes, I want you to ask, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Both wives named Eliza had a name before, like their last name, both started with the letter L, their maiden name. So find out which Eliza we're dealing with, and then maybe ask her how old she was when she got married, or how old Charles was when they got married. So again, you're looking for two numbers, or Eliza's name before she got married, because obviously her name when she got married was Pinckney. So again, she had a name before that. Find out what that was. What's the other one? Where's my other spirit box?
Can I ask
I
her
have one
what
more.
her favorite kid was?
Here's the thing with the kids. Don't poke the bear on what actually happened to them. There's a tragedy there.
Okay.
So
all
if we
right.
poke it, all activity will stop. Have you had any numbers yet?
No. On
No.
the top?
Yeah.
No.
Nothing yet on yours? And Brandy, have you had any colors at all? Okay. So normally we have at least a little bit of something already, since we're already starting to stir some things up. So
Poking the bear.
yeah, don't poke the bear, man. We're all gonna know. As far as yours goes, Eliza's death. There's a lot going on there. So you can ask her how old she was when she died, where she died, what she died from, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. You might get the answer out of that box. So again, I'm switching it up a little bit tonight just to kind of see where the answers are going to actually come out of. So again, we are going to spread out in this location. Okay, just want to make sure. So lasers are in full effect, so as you're kind of moving around, nice and slow movements out of yours. I do have to show Gina a few more things about her motion sensor so she knows how to fully use it. And then of course get those earbuds turned on and unmute your spirit box, and let's go see what we can actually find out of this space. I'm going to work with Gina first and then start bouncing around with all of you. I want you to start releasing and show her how to get to that list. Alright, let's spread out, guys. Let's have some fun in here.
Do you just want me to walk around?
Wander around real slow.
Do I hit
Slower
a
the
button
movements
on
out of
this?
yours. Yeah, you want to unmute it. So right next to that side button. What's her name?
Oh, okay.
Sort of. There's like what does light blue mean?
Light blue, so that's mainly going to be on the ground or like a window because it's cooler because there's mud underneath like the ground right now. And then in windows there's AC, so it's going to be cooler over there.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay, so like, is that AC over there?
Yeah. You're looking for like the dark purple, dark blue.
Purple. Okay.
So how would you know if they're like talking to you?
So.
Got the gist of how that guy's working?
Yeah.
You can if you want. It's your tour, man. So, again,
Wait, so if there's a movement, it'll like.
you see where I'm going now? You see how my hand is lit up and it's not now?
Yeah.
Because there's a laser grid, like it's a pyramid, going down to the ground. So we're looking for something like that. So a lot of times, the bugs are going to show up on us. Together. This is the only set of devices I have that actually makes somebody work together. So again, even if you guys want to swap the touch design or swap the wheels, or you may find a way to do so. So again, the bigger this goes, it's going to force you to be able to make this like I'm going to do So I heard you had Eliza already. So again, most of this is going to be garbage. About the other 5 to 20%, like the analyzer showing right there, because that happens every day. So, yeah, a lot of those are going to be, let's see, like survivors. I was talking about this, like that 40 bucks. See, I told you you can't hear me.
Try to try to keep a person in view.
Oh, person in view?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way you have like an even sweep.
Okay.
Hear a DJ say welcome to Charleston, I want to know that you've heard welcome to Charleston. Okay. Even though it's a radio DJ, and I know you're expecting the scary voices like what they show you on TV, but this is another method because you're not trained to listen for hours and hours and hours to just white noise. Okay. That's why we use the radio station to hopefully convey a message. Most of that, yes, most of it's going to be something. The other half is going to be very specific. We already had Eliza's name come up on this word. So again, you might have something else going along with that. Eric, have you heard anything on yours yet?
No. It seems just like radio, like...
And that's what I was explaining again, is that's what I want you to listen to. So again, because, again, you're not trained to just listen to just randomness, and yours is going to pick up this body more than anybody else. So again, you have the capability of getting one or the other. So that's why it's more accurate. But again, it's kind of like perfect. It's usually the explanation that I did.
Okay.
It's usually the explanation I did.
Dial in.
You got it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
Then yes, then I've heard a fair amount of things. Yeah.
now that you'll remember.
Yeah. Because that means it's getting closer to.
Got it.
What does that
And
mean?
then you're also looking at the numbers, like the big numbers. At the top. Yep. Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Oh, really? So that's it?
What?
Part of the house. How many bedrooms? How many kids lived in the house?
You heard three.
Oh, you just heard 3?
Yeah.
Huh. How old were they? Huh? The children. It's like to argue?
Huh? Don't ask them like personal things.
Huh?
Don't ask them like really personal things.
Who is currently speaking to me?
What did you say? What did you say?
I don't know.
What did you say? What?
Eric, you got anything?
He said he heard 3 when I asked him how many children were there.
I heard 3. Like that.
Now the cool thing about you two working together, and this is actually part of the reason why I put these like 2 things in your party, is because yours isn't recording, but his has audio. So if we miss something, you can go back and listen to the audio and see if it's actually legit. So that actually worked out really well.
I heard something like
Brewery? It's an odd term.
Right?
My pleasure.
Is that what you heard?
That's what I heard too. You heard brewery too?
No,
No, my pleasure. They work for Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Not anybody else. All right. Gina, you got any readings at all?
I got 33.
Is it okay if I like hold it like this too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the camera's in this bottom corner, so as long as you're not covering that.
Okay, I might have accidentally like had my fingers like right here.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Just as long as you don't cover that corner and you don't accidentally hit the stop button.
Okay.
So.
What did your husband look like or something?
All right, let's get everybody some answers now that everybody's doing really well with their devices. This is actually really cool. This is going to be an easy group.
You want me to mute this? I can't get her name.
Oh, yeah, you can mute it. I thought you said Nicholas. I'm like, that's what I thought you said.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
did you hear my name? Because it's pretty common to show up here. So I'm going to say, like, I'm pretty excited. You guys are getting the gist of these spirit boxes pretty quickly, so that was actually rather nice. So thank you for reminding me about my own analogy of Bumblebee from Transformers, because that's really how you're listening to these things. But the things I'm excited about, we did have at least 2 blue motions come through, so that was actually a pretty close range motion on the millimeter that Gina's using. She also had a 33 milligauss reading show up, and we had some 15 show up on Brandi's. So what do those readings mean? Let me kind of give you a gist of what examples in your house. So your TV has a bunch of wires behind it. If we were to place Gina's device behind your TV, it's going to be about a 40 to 60 milligauss. So again, that kind of keep that in mind. Your microwave running on high is going to be about 150 to 170 milligauss. And you're standing next to it with the door shut. The highest reading I've ever seen come out of that device has been in this location at 214 milligauss. Those are dangerous levels. That's like putting your head inside the running microwave. Like, again, it was a get the hell out of Dodge kind of moment. So for those of you running video cameras, so let's go ahead and stop those cameras. Go ahead and hit your square.
So, wait. Do I record now?
You'll have to see her on
I know, right? It's a wall.
Hey,
How come
dude.
it doesn't...
We turned that part off because
Oh, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna use that at our last stop.
Got it. Do I record now?
Yeah, go ahead and hit record now, but
I
again,
know.
let me look
Hey,
at it.
right.
There's
So,
a garbage
where the heck are we now?
thing right here.
We're at Philadelphia Alley. So, Philadelphia Alley, this is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So, we used to call this place Duelers Alley. Every ghost tour in town loves to come down here, and they all tell the same story. Of course, I'm going to tell it a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit more detail than just a campfire ghost story. So, here's how it goes. No more cars? There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. And you're coming by? Yeah. No, they're coming through. Come on through, folks. You're good. We're kind of let you pass through the middle.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
So he moves down here to his fiance Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her fall into the tax. So the attorney thinks that the doctor is after Amanda's money. So he tells her to get rid of the doctor. To prove that he's not, he moved to Charleston. So as he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody was walking by and seen what was going on, and his name is Ralph Isaacs. And I'm going to stop on Ralph because we're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here all the time. However, secondary clue will verify who it actually belongs to. Him and Ralph go see, they become friends. Wow, I skipped over a whole hell of a lot. London was supposed to... No, he did not die yet. So we're getting to that part. But, you know, London's supposed to, like, keep me on cue. That's what happens when I have a rain night off. So sorry, Randy, but you were supposed to hear this last night. But Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside, and he's going to try to kill you. We're talking about the coachman that brought the doctor into town. So I have some friends at 59 Church Street. We heard 29, but not 59. So, but you can rent a room from them. You heard doctor? And you're going to hear something else here, too, if all of that's already coming up. Because we already had the word church as well. Because this is 59 Church Street that we're talking about. But you can rent a room, you'll be safe, and you'll be good to go. The doctor takes them up on the offer, and then they become friends. So with that being said, the doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making a whole hell of a lot more money for himself, and he's proving that he's not just after Amanda's money. So, as he's, lots of distractions tonight. Because Amanda's moving down soon and he's making his own money, the doctor becomes known as the whistling doctor. Now, every haunted city you're ever going to visit is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. I can almost guarantee it. But we actually have proof of this one. When you walk down this alley, they say you can actually hear the whistle from the doctor, but while we're out here, we actually get songs that have whistling in them. So Guns N' Roses' Patience, Maroon 5's Move Like Jagger, like a lot of common songs that just have whistling in them. And it's not that I'm looking for it, they just occur. But anyway, him and Ralph go see plays together, but they cannot go sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. They start arguing after the play because they're walking home together talking about the new actress, and the doctor thought she was great, but Ralph thought she was horrible. So it turns into a really heated argument when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home. So they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here, he puts an ad in the newspaper because he has friends there, and he tells the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. It's kind of a jerk move, like he's a disgrace kind of mentality. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Joel's Alley, we're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to shoot his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. So Ralph has his one bullet, he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor doesn't die either, he falls to the ground. His friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. This guy's a doctor, he probably tried to bleed it out himself. So again, the campfire part of this is that you're walking through, you turn on your voice recorders from your phones and see if you can capture the whistles from the doctor. If you're going to do that on your own, because obviously I can't take you down there and I'll get into that in a minute, but keep in mind everybody local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side of it is going to throw a whistle down the alley. Me and London do it every single night after I'm done with you guys. My parking garage is right there. So we have to pass the alley. We always throw a whistle. So again, keep that in mind. It's not going to be obvious. It's going to be very faint and in the background. So here's how I got booted out of here. This is the fun part of the story. Everybody wants to know this part. So this alley didn't always come all the way through. There was a wall on this side. We used to call it Cow Alley. And the bricks on the other side are older. So those bricks are actually sun-dried bricks from slave children. And I will always show them off because I'm sure you guys picked up by now, I'm all about the history. There's a handprint and a couple of fingerprint swipes in those bricks from those slave children that had to literally turn those bricks to bake them in the sun. Now, again, I treat those bricks the same way I do a grave. And little kids aren't staring at those bricks in the afterlife. That's just the way it goes. It's just a part of history to show how far we've come. November 26th, of 2020, my entire group wanted to huddle around that one brick with the handprint in it to try to get some activity out. It got us in a little bit of trouble because it's outside a window, a beautiful mansion, dining room window. And the gentlemen of the mansion come out screaming. And London thought it was great because dad's getting yelled at. So me and my group, we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. The next day after that was November 28th of 2020. So that date's important. Why? Because I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, like we were allowed to go to, or reroute. I decided to reroute because it's not fair for my 10 to try to investigate a very skinny alley around 20 to 60 other people of other tours. So I did not believe in the story I was about to tell them. It was a pirate story. So I said, let's wing it and see what happens. So we go up there, and before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. They did not tell them we were going to be investigating Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. So I was like, all right, maybe something is going to go on with this. We go up there, and somebody else hears the number 300 on another spirit box. I have no idea what that means until I do the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020, and Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. And I've been taking you guys back there night after night after night in hopes that we're going to continue to capture more evidence. It is a hit or miss location. Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town, and I'll explain why we go to Powder Magazine to search for her once we get into that space. So, again, it is a very crazy story, and I'm not a pirate person. I'm a vampire guy through and through. So again, this took a lot for me to do a lot of research, to go through pirate lore and try to put together as much factual information as I possibly could. So, before we leave, was anybody listening to the spirit boxes, or do we have any words on the list before we leave this space? Interest? Yeah, I got nothing.
Do you know when the duel took place?
1786.
So what, like summer, spring,
It
fall?
was in the fall. Nail. So that, if he died 10 days after, he died on November 2nd, so that would have been October, what, 23rd? I'm trying to think. Yeah, would have been October 23rd, the exact date, 1786. So he was only 22 years old, not 29. I can see where your next question's going. So,
Well, I was just kind of curious.
Or you just kind of ran away too. Okay, that's okay. Again, I told you can take 5 or 500. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go through them all. All right, let's head up to the next spot. You can unmute now again if you want to along the way, Eric.
All right.
But yours seems to be pretty active right now.
Here.
Yeah. Okay.
I heard rob someplace.
Rob some places.
When you say something, you don't have to take it out all the time.
I heard rob someplace. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
I know, but you don't have to take it out and just say it. You just leave it in. Oh, do you guys want me to record or turn it off?
You can hang on. Let's give it a little bit of.
Let's go this way.
What was the worst thing about being a pirate?
Caribbean?
Caribbean. Runaway. Paradise. What was the name of your son?
Hope?
Hope.
Hope?
Hope.
Here, Dad, come over here.
Yeah, we don't get a whole lot of numbers here. It's all about the colors with yours.
We got
there you go,
Hope
pink.
for son, and
You got Hope.
Hope and
Runaway,
Caribbean
and Runaway.
I
Imagine
said,
that.
what was your least favorite thing about being a pirate? And that's what I got back.
Well, Caribbean is obvious. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Runaway. And also here, a lot of people would hear the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" here. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
happens
what I
all
heard.
the time.
That's what I heard.
It happens all the time here.
I heard natural biological preset or something, or pre-deficit. That's weird. I don't know. Maybe you just, maybe.
Let's go walk around.
You're hard to follow, man.
I know, right? Maybe it was.
Let's go this way. Ask her.
Doubted her? Did you say doubted you?
Crossfire?
Yeah. Did you ever see fights on the ship?
I legitly.
Yeah. Is the $100 what got you out of jail? What was your favorite part about Charleston? And did you miss Ireland? Did you like being on a boat? Anne is just talking to me.
It's,
Well, it's nice to meet you, Anne. Did you like the party?
Hear anything?
Yeah, we heard some things. I'm trying to figure out what they're saying. What's a good question to ask her?
So like the name of the ship and her parents' names, and then anything else you can come up with.
What was the name of your
well,
parents?
she did say Crossfire.
Crossfire,
What was the name of your ship?
and then we can go up to the front too if you want.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's see what that building looks like.
Am I allowed to record over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the name of your ship? Did they ever cut people's heads off here?
They mainly stored like ammo and stuff in there.
Okay,
So
but not in there.
don't think so.
Okay,
I mean, it's an actual museum. You can go in one day.
that's pretty cool.
I think it's open till 5 on weekdays.
Nice.
So
I'll have to go check that out.
What's that dark thing right there?
that looks. It could be the stuff. I'm not sure that would give a different hue.
Oh. That's weird. Now it's like purple up. No, he. So, are you in high school?
Yeah.
What's your favorite class?
Well, I'm in show choir because I'm a little kid. So.
Oh. Well, I'm a choir kid, so I'm actually on the top. I'm in varsity.
So you're going into high school?
Well, I have one more year of middle school. I'm 13.
Like
so.
what?
I heard a young guy say like he's probably like talking about like a pregnant pilot or something like that. He's like, you're fat, like that thing.
Oh, you're fat, you're fat?
Yeah.
Really?
Speaking pirates.
You going off there, huh?
So do you have any of your choir stuff like over the summer, or is it just
Just during school. We actually won like a, it was like
What's that?
all-state
yeah?
type
Yeah, I'm
thing.
feeling fine now.
Like ones like our
Actually, it
best,
stopped
like
right when I was
fives are like the worst,
coming in right
and then we got all ones on the chart, and so we got like a plaque. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So what are you
I feel
guys
like
doing?
sometimes
Theater?
somebody was pinching the back of my shoulder.
So we have a musical every year. We have our competition piece, and then 3 show choir shows.
You shows?
No,
Yeah.
I just thought
For choir, we did. What we did was sort of like caroling for Christmas, but we went to the elementary schools and sang there.
like
And
somebody's like
we always sing a song named Hot Chocolate, and every kid knows that song because of their brothers and siblings, and everyone gets so excited.
yeah, she
It's
won't
pretty
answer
cool.
back on the name of the ship.
After the tour, like, come get me and I'll give you my snap or something so we can talk about it.
Not that I can make out, like some music was coming through.
I love the fact that you heard Caribbean and Runaway. Like that's good stuff. That's really good stuff.
There was a weird cold spot on
Yeah,
the
it was right over there.
Front of the building, or
It was like near like a tree and a cannon.
so do me a favor, stop your video so that way we